If you want to enjoy this car in Assetto Corsa Evo, you really want to watch this video, because when you're using the default setup, it doesn't really feel nice, and this video will solve that. And instead about complaining about force feedback and the car isn't modeled properly, I think it actually is, but it just needs some tweaking. And in this video I will share with you a high downforce baseline that you can take to any other track to make this car more enjoyable. Let's get into it. So let's use the default setup of this car. You can click here on the bottom, default setup. The dampers, super stiff dampers. Aerodynamically we're losing out a little bit of wing. That's going to be important later, okay? So let's have a look how this car drives. And instead of complaining about force feedback and the force feedback and the sim is not proper, we can fix this car. But first let's just try to do a lap. I'm sim racing for years, have done lots of ACC, doing lots of LMU, and just let's see what this car does. Now obviously we have the tire heat. The first thing I notice when I'm driving the default setup, it is like whenever I go on the throttle, it immediately wants to oversteer, okay? Now sure, that is throttle control, fine. Again, it's happening here as well. So whenever, like, the traction control is super lazy, so let's just increase that. Traction control to 7. And now on the throttle it's like intervening, yes, but like remain control. You know, I have also kind of a heavy right foot. So let's have a look. We still have the tires to heat up. Oh, we have oversteer. I think the default setup does have great rotation under high speed, but whenever I enter the corners, it's like constantly giving me issues. Now I was too late on the brakes. Obviously we don't have the tire heat yet. Let's keep going. Let's not make this boring. Well, let's just explain the driving for this default setup, where we have the temperatures. Ooh, that really wants to rotate to the dangerous part. Now, every time the car wants to kind of slide, right, like brr, brr, you can't hear the TC. I don't really enjoy that at the moment, but yeah, okay. Constantly wants to oversteer. I can save it, but in general, I can see when you're more of a beginner, then oversteer, oversteer. When you want to copy setups to any other track, you go to vehicle setup and you just save a dummy, meaning like bra. Save. We have a setup saved now. And you need to go to your game directory. So for me, it's like the C drive. And then I'll go to users. And then over, this is my user, saved games, ACE, and then you go to car setups, BMW, and you can see Suzuka Bra, it's over here. Now I created the setups for in Spa, so we have the high downforce, we copy this one, and we putting this into Suzuka. Here we go. The setup is on my website. If you really want to get into car setup building and start from the ground up, I highly recommend The Art of Car Setups, which will explain the whole system. Also how I built this setup. Look, and here it is, and now we can load it up. Did a lot of laps to get like a better behaving car, and I don't necessarily know if from the baseline this is quicker, but I found it to be a lot more manageable. So you can see I take the max swing, I reduce the ride height a little bit on the front and a little bit less ride height on the back. I changed the dampers a little bit. I created a little bit different approach to bump stop ranges, and all of that is I increased the TC to 7 and I changed a little bit of these toe values. Let's have a look. Sure, someone might say I have too much understeer now, but I get this car now on these cold tires. Like, I can lift, I can trail brake, and I got just such a more calmer car at the moment. Obviously there's going to be an element of understeer, but if you use proper lines and you approaching the corners and braking properly, it gets more predictable behavior, not the oversteer and stuff. And the best thing is you can take this to any other track, even the Nordschleife, Spa, it works. And then after this example, I will also show you what tweaks you can make to maybe change the behavior a little bit. Now, of course, when I really start pushing the brakes and steering, I can still set the car into this like lame slide, what it kind of has. But overall, driving it like this, I think it is actually a lot of fun as well. Take this curb and validate the corner here. A thing you want to learn though is that you should, when you're entering corners, you should really be aggressive on the downshift. So it's gonna look like this. For instance, on this corner, for instance, here is how you want to downshift. And you can apply throttle when you feel the car start sliding. You can apply the throttle to stabilize the car. Well, you get the point, right? To make some tweaks yourself, it is important that we do have lots and lots of ride heights. So there is a direct relation between ride heights and bump stop range. We running a low bump stop range on the rear prevents spring travel, meaning the rear of the car will be up more in the air as aerodynamics increase. So we have higher speed, we get more aerodynamics, and this is gonna play a part. When we increase them, however, on the front, let's say we increase them a lot. Let's go wild here. What this now does is we have created more spring travel, which makes the car dive, and you got like this problem of pitch sensitivity, means aerodynamic performance is more faced forward and you tend to oversteer. But there is another problem while you're doing this. Let's show you. So imagine that the front suspension has now more freedom to move into. So the ride heights will drop now significantly more than before because, yeah, for the basic reason that the spring is longer now. So what does that mean? You hear that sound? That's bottoming out because the wheel is going more up into its wheel arc, and now we're bottoming out. But overall, if you say like, Arnoud bro, it is too like, it cannot corner like this, test out the front springs. When you soften these front springs, you get more grip on the front, like the front tires are going to connect to the road better. Aerodynamically, it will pitch and dive a bit more, which could help you to make the car rotate more. If you really want to understand bump stop ranges, aerodynamic behavior in cars, because I didn't really super explain it properly here, you want to check out this LMU video where we go over Packers is the same as bump stop range, and it will explain how your car behaves aerodynamically. And I think it's the first and most important step to get like 60% of your car behavior the way you desire. Thanks for watching.